What's up, Chiefs Kingdom? Welcome to a very special episode of Outside the Trenches. I'm BJ Kissel. That is Tucker Franklin, and we should be joined by Leckie here in a little bit. But we hope everybody out there had a fantastic Thanksgiving. We know it is the bye week, so there's not a ton going on in Chiefs Kingdom, but we're going to talk about whatever it is that's going on, and we got some stuff going on at KC Sports Network we can chat about. Before we get to that, Tucker, man, how was your Thanksgiving?
It was good. I really enjoyed my Thanksgiving. I had 2 Thanksgivings to go to. I think that's the first time I've ever done that. And we went to Tara's families and then my family Thanksgiving. I was stuffed. My dad made a brisket and we had pulled pork and smoked turkey and we had turkey and all the usual Thanksgiving stuff over at Tara's house. And man, it was just a really good time to spend with some people we haven't really seen in a while. We had close to 40 people, I think, in my house.
That's amazing.
So getting all of the family together was really good. And, it's been so long since we've been able to have everybody together. And it was just kind of cool just to have all the family together. I really enjoyed it. Yeah.
Yeah, my in-laws always come in town. My mom came over and made some food, watched some football. Thanksgiving's my favorite holiday. It's always been my favorite holiday since the time I was a kid. We'd always used to go up to Des Moines to my mom's house or my grandma's parents where my mom grew up. And I would just sit in like the little den and just eat and watch football all day long. And nobody ever talked to me. There was no pressure of like presents and this and that. Like you just go eat and watch football and that's all it's about. So there's nothing wrong with that. But yeah, I'm glad you got some time with them, and obviously happy Thanksgiving to everybody who is out there. And Tucker, I got to ask, because I felt kind of torn watching the Cowboys and the Las Vegas Raiders. Who were you rooting for in that game?
I had rooting interest with the Cowboys. I think that just because it's a divisional opponent against the Chiefs, and the Chiefs find themselves kind of in that little range of trying to fight out for that first spot, that they really needed the Raiders to lose. Listen, it was a good football game, so I'm not going to be upset about it. But it's one of those things where I was kind of pulling for the Cowboys. But, man, it's so hard to cheer for those guys.
And it was like it sets up to be this beautiful day of watching football, and then the refs. I think there was like 30 penalties, like each team had over 100 yards and penalties, just absolutely brutal when everybody's watching the NFL, for the NFL to take that platform and to do what they did to it. But to your point, it was like, obviously I was rooting for the Cowboys. I want the Raiders, I want every team in the AFC West to lose. But after the last week of Cowboys fans just being insufferable on social media, it was really hard to root for them. But we are joined by our other fearless leader here, and OG host of what used to be In the Trenches, now Outside the Trenches, and our good friend, Mr. Leckie, is now going to join us all the way from the southwest corner, or kind of the southwest corner of the United States in Arizona. Nick, thank you for joining us, man.
Yeah, no problem.
How was your Thanksgiving?
It was good, man. It was good. Went out and ate at a restaurant out here, so I had a big old steak, and I love that. It was fantastic.
Nice. What was how were you feeling yesterday during the Cowboys Raiders game?
I was rooting for Las Vegas all the way. Even being from Dallas, I never really rooted for the Cowboys. And I grew up when, Cowboys were winning 3 Super Bowls. That's when I came of age. And my stepdad never rooted for the Cowboys. So, I mean, it's what you grew up with as a kid. So I never rooted for the Cowboys, never really rooted for football. So, and
I
all
have
my
to-
buddies back home, I was rooting for the Raiders.
I have to apologize then. I think I just made the assumption on the last show that you grew up a Cowboys fan because obviously you liked football. You lived in Dallas, and I didn't think that they would let you live in that state, in that city, and grow up there and not be a fan of the Cowboys. But we hope everybody again had a great Thanksgiving out there. It sounds like all three of us did. And before we get into the show, we do also have to thank Jack Stack Barbecue, our presenting partner of this show. And whether you're in Kansas City or whether you are around the country, jackstackbbq.com will ship you the Jack Stack food. And as somebody who has done that several different times, I can tell you that it turns out fantastic to go that way. And Nick's got, you guys, is that your family, Nick?
Yeah, it's my family. Yeah.
No, that's great. That's what we get for doing the live shows, and we're doing them around times that nobody is at work. But jackstackbbq.com will take care of you whenever you're tired of turkey, you need something else a little bit different, or whatever you guys are eating, Nick, with the steak. Make sure you go to jackstackbbq.com. But in general, before we get into the football stuff, and I think anyone who follows us may have seen this on social media, something that we're very passionate about at KC Sports Network, and it came together in a really beautiful way for all of us. But we're doing our first annual Soul of KC holiday raffle and toy drive that is benefiting Operation Breakthrough. We have 17 different prizes that were donated. We have 17 different prizes that were donated from different local companies in Kansas City, talking everything from like a Patrick Mahomes autographed mini helmet to a Chris Jones autographed jersey, a bunch of guys chips basically for an entire year, Cookie Society for an entire year. I will run down really quickly everything that's included in this holiday drive. Again, the Patrick Mahomes autographed mini helmet, Chris Jones autographed jersey, 2 tickets to the Chiefs game against the Steelers on December 26th. Creed Humphrey autographed game-worn gloves. That one's really cool. Like I said, Guys Chips Variety 8-pack, picking 4 winners. Thanks to Guys Chips. Love their support. Cookie Society monthly sampler, 6 cookies every month for an entire year. $100 gift card to Manny's Mexican Restaurant. $100 gift card to the Capitol Grill. $100 gift card to 3rd Street Social. $100 gift card to Q39, 2 $50 gift cards to Rally House, $100 gift card, and 4 tour passes to Holiday Distillery. Done that. That is very much worth it. And a 6-pack of the Jackson family wines. That is a $250 value. And again, those tickets can be purchased only through the KC Sports Network Venmo account. Go to @KC Sports Network on Venmo. $20 gets you 1 ticket. $100 gets you 10 tickets. Everything is being drawn on December 16th during our live post-game show. The tickets can be purchased through Wednesday, December 8th. So as much money as we raise, that will allow us to go buy even more toys. We are dropping those toys off to Operation Breakthrough. So it's really local companies helping local kids, and we're kind of the conduit to kind of promote it and be the middleman here. And it's really cool for us to use this platform for good, which is something that has been important to us in the soul of our spirit, of our company, if you will, the spirit of our company, and doing good things and giving back and doing more than just distracting you guys while you're at work or while you're taking a break from family right now to tune into some Chiefs talk during the bye week. We know you're the diehards. So anyway, we appreciate everybody's support of KC Sports Network. We appreciate your support of this first annual holiday, the Soul of KC holiday raffle and toy drive. Something's really, really cool. I'm going to take a break now because I just got done talking for a really long time. Tucker, what's your favorite item of the 17 that people can win? That's what I want to know right now.
I remember when we were kind of talking about this all coming together, and you said Creed Humphrey game-worn gloves, and I said, where do I sign up for that? I want to get into this raffle for it. But yeah, that one's a pretty cool one. I wish we would have just had like an obscure item for a Creed Humphrey to sell, like a Croc, like 2 Crocs, a pair of Crocs by Creed Humphrey to sell, signed and everything like that. But
that was a miss. That was a miss.
Yeah, that's all right. I just thought of it, so it's kind of my fault too that I didn't think of that sooner. But I think anything by Creed Humphrey is you can go ahead and sign me up. That dude's a beast. Him and Trey Smith, those are 2 of the best picks. I think in the Brett Veach era. I don't think that's even up for debate. Yeah, I said it. Legit sneeze.
Nick,
But anyway,
we'll move on to football. But Nick, what of everything I just listed off, what item do you think is the coolest?
I think the Creed Humphrey gloves would be. I don't want to be a wet blanket, but the dude does play barehanded. You know, so
Yeah, a warm up.
Yeah,
that's a good point.
I'll take some wrist tape, his wrist tape from his left hand, because that's his snap hand, which I think is still beyond bizarre to me that he's a left-hander. And I don't know, man. I think I like the Tyreek Hill. I like the Tyreek. Oh, it's not. Is that Brett Veach, BJ, or is that before Brett?
The what?
We
have the Chris Jones jersey. There's a Patrick Mahomes helmet, and then there's a bunch of wine. There's a bunch of gift cards to different restaurants. There's all kinds of stuff. Guys chips. Get a bunch of guys chips.
I like the guys chips. Are they a Kansas City company? Because I don't follow them on Twitter. So did they just start?
That's because you buy your chips from a different country.
I know.
Ketchup.
I like to import all my potato chips.
You get some Kansas City ones. We got to get
some of those honestly, to me, I like the Capital Grill one and the Q39 gift cards. I had my name on them. I like those, and then I'm always down for some. Who was the family wine?
The Jackson family
wine. Yeah, I'm always down for some wine. So I always like to get a good wine drunk, especially Thanksgiving time around holidays too. And I feel like that's the time to imbibe, to be around your family. And nothing like enhance it.
If I'd buy tickets if there was like cases of Bang Energy that were available, I would probably be all over those. But anyway, let's get to some Chiefs talk. We appreciate everybody over the next couple of weeks that supports what we're doing with this holiday raffle. And you will, other part of this, you win any of these things, you will get those before Christmas. So a nice Christmas gift for your family as you're giving back and helping purchase toys for Operation Breakthrough and the kids. And we're going to drop those toys off by December 10th is what we're going to do. So you can buy tickets through December 8th. We're going to then use the money, go buy a bunch of toys, drop them off, get all the tickets together and announce everything on that live show on Thursday, December 16th. We will draw all the winners live on our post-game show. So, guys, let's talk a little bit about the Chiefs now. I know they've been playing better. We talked about that. It was only a matter of time before things started to click, particularly on the defensive side. We've seen that offensively, still not at the efficient level that we're used to, but enough to win the last 3 games and to sit atop the AFC West. Tucker, start with you. Just what do you think they need to do to continue running the table?
I think they got to be consistent. They got to be more consistent. That defense has gotten more consistent, and I talked about it with Mike DeVito on one-on-one about how surprised he was that they were able to kind of right that ship and do that full 180 when it comes to the run defense, especially with how practices are now. You can't really go full pads that many days in a row during the week, and it's good to see that this defense is playing at a very high level. They've been the best defense in the league for these past few weeks, so I think that's really good. And on the offensive side of the ball, they just need to get that consistency. They got their swagger back against the Raiders. They just got to keep that swagger now. They just can't get it back for one game and then not do very well. But I think that they really need to stay consistent on the offensive side of the ball.
I think the addition of Melvin Ingram has been that real missing piece, to have those true bookend defensive ends. He's not really showing up on the stat sheet, but I've been sort of, when I watch the games live, focusing on him when he's in, because it is bizarre to see a cornerback number at defensive end being so big. It looks like, like he's got like the extra medium jersey. It's like the centering is so weird. They're like, oh, we don't make 2s and 5s in that big sizes. It's like, it's really weird. But yeah, no, I think honestly, I think that the Chiefs defense has been there the whole time, but they ran through, probably the toughest gauntlet against teams who had them, circled on their calendar before the season, and teams who are ready to play. And the defense was holding up. It's the offense who was letting the defense down by, going 3 and out, interceptions, where the defense is right back on the field, tired, and teams just run the ball on them. So this is the defense I've seen all year. That's why I say wait for the season to finish before you judge. Yeah.
And Nick, I want to get your take on this. And I think players have done a good job, and I think fans for the most part kind of understand that, but the ebbs and flows of a season, that you're not going to come out and the offense is going to come out and put up 45 points every game and never struggle. And same thing with the defensive side. So early in the year, the offense is doing really well, the defense is struggling, and we just have this thought that inside the locker room, it's just the offensive guys just being so pissed at the defense. Well, then you go 6 weeks later and it's the opposite. And that's why it's really not that contentious inside the locker room. Am I wrong? On the teams that you played, if one side of the ball was struggling versus the other, is that a thing? Or you just kind of understand like, hey, there's going to be a time that we struggle and then we're going to pick them up and vice versa?
Yeah, it's a team sport and everyone understands that. Now, if this offense had never produced in the past, then you'd be like, come on, offense, get your stuff together. But you bail each other out. And that's why good teams are, top to bottom rosters, because some days the offense is going to be, off the charts, like the couple years ago, the Rams shootout game, right?
Mm-hmm.
You lose a game after, scoring 50 points. And then you look at the Cowboys game where, you win a game scoring 16 points. So that's what you need. It just, it's in the moment, that particular week, who's healthy, who's not. And it's like, all right, man, offense, we'll get you. Or if it's like, defense is struggling, you'd be like, all right, defense, we're going to get you. We'll carry the load today. But to me, this whole season has been the offense not carrying the load. The turnovers, the 3 and outs, man. I think what they did well versus the Cowboys, even though they punted half the time or more than half the time, was get sustained drives. That's all you need to do, man. With this defense, just give them a chance to breathe, right? And they'll be good. And finally, everyone's healthy. Everyone's healthy. And L'Jarius Sneed, open field tackles. I think tackling on defense has improved. And that's been the biggest key. There's been no yards after catches or runs.
Yeah, for sure. And go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead, Nick. Or go ahead, Tuck.
I was just saying that open field tackling has been huge. Not only that, like Rashad Fenton has been playing really well in that, and we haven't really heard a whole lot from his injury just because it was going into a bye week. We haven't really heard from Andy Reid or anybody on the team in a minute. So we'll probably learn more about that Rashad Fenton injury. But the cornerbacks love to tackle, and that's something that's always been about these cornerbacks is they love the contact and they love that physicality nature of it. And really, I think that to your point, Nick, earlier of adding the Melvin Ingram has really helped, the coverage be a little bit better, which has helped the pass rush, and it's all just helping each other out. And I like what you said about kind of them not getting too high in the highs and too lows on the load, right? They could be the offense could have really dogged the defense, but now the offense is kind of in the spot the defense was early on in the season. So it's just the ebbs and flows of the season. Yeah.
It's still amazing to me that when we talk about the Chiefs offense, we talk about their struggles because of, I don't want to use the word entitlement, depending upon how you talk about it, but they're struggling relative to what we know they can do. And I think, right, Nick, that's what you're talking about is the expectation is they're going to come out and set an NFL record and average like 38 points a game. And when they're averaging 25, it's like, oh man, they're struggling, even though they're ranked like right along the top 10 in scoring and they're top 5 in yards. It's just still not what we're used to seeing from this group. And that just goes into like, at some point, are you talking in terms of like just as any football fan, or are you talking in terms of like, these guys are better than this, we hold them to a different standard? And the way that you talk about that nuance means everything to a fan, depending upon how you talk about fans and fandom and all that kind of stuff that we discuss. But it's got to be relative to what you can expect from that group, because these guys playing at 70% is better than 80% of the rest of the NFL. And we have to be fair about that.
That's true. Well, and I one of the things I don't like about watching football on TV, and especially ESPN, is that they do this dumbass stat thing that's like has the most tackles since 2015. I'm like, who cares, right? I mean, so you've played longer, right? Or you've been healthy. It's like, what are you doing this season? Or what have you been doing these past 3 weeks, right? I mean, to me, like comparing stats year over year is terrible. It always reminds me when LeBron didn't win like an NBA MVP because he wasn't good LeBron, but he was good enough for the rest of the league. But you're always judged versus yourself, which I think is so inaccurate because different chemistries. I mean, this team, new offensive line, it's a different chemistry on that offense. And now they're finally figuring it out, right? And to me, I think the coolest thing that how Stella got a groove back sort of thing was Kelsey earning his paycheck, QB sneak. That's and then not going for these red herrings, Von Miller, Odell Beckham, bringing a guy who's a backup and is not comfortable with being a backup and wants to get out and prove something. That's a smart pick from Melvin Ingram.
And that it brings me because Melvin Ingram doesn't fit that mold necessarily. And I think it's been amazing. And I know that Maddie Lane had a great piece earlier this week
Mm-hmm.
on the KC Sports Network Substack about Melvin Ingram and everything that he's done. And Nick, to your point earlier, it is interesting seeing that number 24. It always throws me off for a second. I'm like, man, that little DB just threw some dudes around. And like, oh, it's Ingram. Never mind. But yeah, you bring up a great point, because I think some fans made the expectation. I'm talking Josh Gordon. That's the next kind of segue here. And the next segment is, I want to know, what storylines are you looking forward to following after the bye week here, of kind of what manifests itself into something. On Twitter, you have a tendency to manifest everything is everything. And Josh Gordon is going to get 1,000 yards and 8 touchdowns if you listen to some people. And I don't think that was fair to him. It wasn't fair to the team. It wasn't fair for any expectation of what's real. And I think, for me, it's going to be interesting to follow Josh Gordon. And I said from the beginning, we go back and check all the receipts, it's just a matter of getting him comfortable enough to make 3 or 4 really key third down catches and high leverage second half of the game, 1 score, key third down, that kind of play. Hopefully the bye week is going to be huge for a guy like Josh Gordon, who, it's not easy to play receiver in the Chiefs offense. It is not as simple as they call a play, a route, you go run it. There's a lot that mentally these guys have to do, where their route is determined based on the way the defense is lined up and the rules that the offense has within these concepts that are called, not necessarily plays. And so mentally, that's a lot for a player who hasn't done anything like this before. And I'm not going to make any judgments about what he has or hasn't been used to, but I know for a fact, and talking with those guys for years, it's not easy to get used to that kind of stuff. So hopefully the bye week can get him comfortable enough to even just a handful of packages. But I want to see what kind of impact Josh Gordon makes. And I'm not talking about 5 or 6 catches a game and 70 yards. I'm talking, can he be on the field on 3rd and 8 when we're at midfield, second half, 1 possession game? If he's on the field running his route, Mahomes will get it to whoever the defense dictates he will. But that's the kind of storyline. That's the kind of thing that I'm looking forward to. What do you guys, Nick, what do you think about Gordon and that storyline? And if it's not that one, what other storyline that we've been discussing for the first half of the year are you looking to see what comes to fruition here in the last, 2/3 of the regular season?
I like I like raw stats, and I like, per game stats. And the cool thing that I'm always looking at is, who's involved in the plays, when they have like your snap counts. And I mean, he's getting a lot of snap counts, just not getting the targets. And that's whether, he's not getting open, like you said, BJ, about the route concepts. The main thing I'm looking forward to is this sort of Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Darrell Williams run game. Like, I mean, did KC low-key get that bootleg Cleveland ground game? Because I feel like Clyde Edwards-Helaire has been kind of motivated because seeing Darrell Williams doing so really, really good with this offensive line. So I'm curious to see what sort of combination packages they're going to install coming out of this offseason as they make that December push, and seeing, good separate from the bad.
Yeah, that's a really good one. I think kind of in the same almost vein as you, BJ, it's like what I'm looking for is also at the wide receiver room. It's the usage of Mecole Hardman. We've seen it kind of decrease a little bit. I know Kent Swanson has kept a close eye on it, of him, maybe not his snap counts decreasing, but the way he's used has definitely been changed to not running as many route concepts. He is only in on like sweeps and pop passes and just these plays to get around the edge a little bit more. Are we going to see of that now be his identity, or are we going to see him be able to do a little bit more stuff? But Josh Gordon's a really good one. I think that the defense and L'Jarius Sneed is a guy to watch. Like, he could be in the serious conversation for all NFL, like this season, the first team as a cornerback. Man, dude played well last year too. Before he break his collarbone and is still playing really well and is still laying hits on the guys in the open field. So crazy to think about. The dude with the broken collarbone is still going out doing that. Who had a broken collarbone, but yeah, I think L'Jarius Sneed, that defense is a story to watch. But I think Mecole Hardman's usage too is just as important. Yeah.
It's funny. Here's a cool thought experiment, and this kind of puts you in and this is what I tell my friends when I'm watching the game with them. When Mecole gets the ball, does it make you nervous when he's running?
Yeah.
You don't have to. Hey, listen. Okay, that was rhetorical, right?
Well,
No,
well,
I'm the most optimistic person, and I sit next to Kent, who's not optimistic in those situations.
Yeah.
And the last game, Mecole had one, and he like dove toward like the 1 or 2 yard line, and there was a linebacker diving, trying to like poke it out from the back, and I just visualized the ball like scooting out into the end zone. It's a touchback ball going the other way or whatever, and it's like, you know what? I hope that goes away, but yeah, I'm in that same boat for sure.
But here's the thought experiment, right? Put yourself as a coach. Do you trust him? Do you trust dialing up plays to him, knowing he might fumble? Right? He's got to earn that trust back, right?
Yeah.
And then also from an opposing an opponent standpoint, when he has the ball, you almost sort of expect him to fumble, right? And you're going to go for that. And that's how the NFL works, right? You show a weakness, you're not going to be trusted by the coaches, and then your opponent see on film, they think we can do that same damn thing.
Right.
Yeah. The only tough thing for Mecole, and we talked about this before, Tucker, on the postgame stuff, is how much of the offense, like what percentage of the offense is based around those package plays, those jet sweeps, those things that he excels at because of his skill set as an athlete. Are you getting rid of those? You don't have like, DeAnthony Thomas was kind of insurance for Tyreek Hill early in his career. It was the same kind of packages where if Tyreek wasn't on the field or if Dat wasn't on the field, you had another guy with that similar skill set. And I don't know who's the other guy. I don't think as good as he is. And Byron Pringle stepping up. I don't know if Byron Pringle can do those kinds of plays as effective as Mecole can. Like, he's not that kind of athlete. So is it worth getting rid of that chunk of the offense to not have him out on the field, or is he just a package play guy? And the defense knows when he comes out, it's going to be one of these 7 or 8 things that are kind of predetermined in how to get him the football to try to take advantage of the speed that we know he has when he has the ball. But now it's not about watching him in the speed in the open field. It's holding your breath saying, for the love of God, do not fumble the ball.
Hey, but I will give him a positive. He's great at this. Like if you're in that 30 to 20, right before you get to the red zone, he's super dangerous there because he can just totally avoid the whole red zone by scoring from that range as well too.
Yeah.
So, he's got his needs, and that's what the Chiefs offense knows what he can do.
It seems like it just takes a couple of plays too. I don't think defensive coordinators need to see him get 3 straight 100-yard games to just give that kind of thought of he can get downfield, he can run an intermediate deep post, a route, something, a comeback, something that kind of puts that fear into that kind of route when he's out on the field. And that is obviously something to continue to watch. And Nick, I love what you said about the running game, about the physicality with those guys getting after it, getting downhill, because you get into the cold weather months, and not to be all cliche about football, but my favorite part of the last game wasn't the highlights early. It was you got the ball back with 7 minutes to go, and they ran the ball effectively and took some time off the clock when the other team knows you're going to run the football. You and I have talked about that for years of being one of your favorite things. It's not just running the football. It's when they know you're going to run and you can still go run the football. It's lining up, telling them what you're going to do, and they can't stop it.
Yeah, we always called it. I know in New Orleans it was called 4-minute offense, and that's when you're trying to run the clock out. It's not necessarily heavy personnel because you bring 2 tight ends in, they're going to bring in extra D tackles, which is a waste. Stay in your normal personnel and just be able to run the ball. And it is great, BJ, like you said, right? They know you're doing it, the crowd knows you're doing it, and you still do it. It's a beautiful thing. And if you're just getting 4 or 5 yards a pop, it's beautiful to that's when you impose your will. And I think that's what this Chiefs offense line is built to do, is run downhill at you.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to the final segment. Nick, your favorite segment every week for anybody who has been listening. And before we get to Blind Nil, which again is 3 topics that each one of us have brought, we don't know what the other has brought to this show. But before we get to that segment, again, we launched earlier today on social media our Soul of Casey holiday raffle and toy drive. We've got 17 items up for raffle. You can buy tickets on our Venmo account at KC Sports Network. They start at $20 for 1 ticket. You get 10 tickets for $100, but everything from a Patrick Mahomes autographed mini helmet, a Chris Jones jersey, Creed Humphrey game-worn autographed gloves, as Nick pointed out there would be pregame gloves, or maybe wears a glove when it gets a little bit colder. But we've got all kinds of gift cards. We've got all kinds of cool stuff that we are going to give away on our live show on December 16th. But you can buy tickets. All the money raised goes towards purchasing toys that we donate to Operation Breakthrough and all the phenomenal stuff that they have going on. So you can go on social media, go to our Venmo, buy those tickets. I'm getting push notifications every time. So we appreciate everybody for supporting what we have going on. All right, Nick, it is time for Blind Nil. You get to start us off on this this holiday week. What do you got for this week's Blind Nil?
First of all, I'd like to say I feel mildly bad for being Randall Pink from Dazed and Confused about not signing the paper for the pledge for the next football season. You know, I've been hanging around you, BJ, too much. I just can't. I'm like, I gotta say something. I know.
You guys know me well enough. I got some. I'm gonna say it like right then and there. So it works both ways.
Yeah,
it works both ways.
Like, am I gonna prick this bubble right now? Am I gonna be a jerk? But yeah, no, I had to. As a center, no, I would be letting our people down if I didn't tweet that out, right? They're like, what's this analyst doing? He doesn't know what the hell he's talking. I'm like, you played it and didn't even see that. All right.
Yeah, they might end up being cleats. Who knows what they are? Cleats. We talked to Brian. Like, we're good.
Wrist tape.
We're good.
Wrist tape.
We're good there.
All right. Okay. So I'm going to say this just because I've said this before, and this appeals to me about as far as, you know, judging seasons as a whole, and just, you know, going week to week and, you know, the opponent you play. So the Bills smashed New Orleans last night. I would like to point out that New Orleans is on their basically third string quarterback, Trevor Siemian. They were without Kamara and Mark Ingram, and defense has been, you know, whatever. And then they didn't blow them out till last. That being said, you know, offense putting up points, you know, people are loving their quarterback. Are the Bills contenders or pretenders?
I think they're contenders. Like, I don't think I can name a handful of teams in the AFC that are more consistent or more talented than them. Somebody's got to be a contender, right? You can't just say nobody is. So I believe in Buffalo more than I believe in like Baltimore, or a couple of I believe in more than Tennessee without Derrick Henry. So talking about contenders, I think they're up there. I mean, obviously the Chiefs are the number one team for me. They always will be. They have this talent. They have Patrick Mahomes. They're the best player in football. So I think the Bills are contenders, but they're very flawed. We saw the best version of the Bills, and we saw when they play really well and we don't, they're good enough to beat us. So that's not nothing. And so I would consider them a contender. What about you?
My jury's still out, as they really didn't put up points until the very end. You know, they kind of went on kind of a shopping spree, sort of a Black Friday shopping spree towards the end when the game was sort of out of hand, and you can kind of tell. And I think going into that game, knowing that essentially the Saints were sort of toothless, that, you know, and then the Bills travel well, you know, they turned the Superdome into, you know, Bills Mafia Central. And I think the Bills have shown stuff on offense that they can get the job done. They have a dynamic offense, a dynamic quarterback who can, I mean, he can run and pass the ball. And he's gutty, he's gritty, and I think he's a hell of a quarterback, and he's a great leader. And like I said, I think he's got the element that Mahomes doesn't quite have yet, as far as that quick twitch, that fast twitch, and to be able to run the ball. Like if you say who's a better running quarterback, I'd say Josh Allen. You know, because Mahomes, you know, he's fumbling the ball, he's not really, you know, getting it out. But overall, who I'd rather have is Mahomes. So to me, and this goes back to I'm just talking to myself, is I don't know yet. It was a legit question. Like, I have no clue how to judge this Bills team this year.
Yeah, for me, they've got two dynamic weapons in the passing game, and Dawson Knox is actually a really good tight end, but Cole Beasley, one of the best slot receivers in the NFL, and Stephon Diggs is going to be like one of my top 5 receivers. I think he's phenomenal. Yeah. And so when you have that, you've got a big arm quarterback, a guy who's a great athlete, and Josh Allen, to your point, like, they're going to be dangerous. And defensively, Tremaine Edmonds is one of my favorite players that no one ever gets talked about around the NFL. I loved him coming out of the draft that year. He's just a predator running around at middle linebacker, and they've got talent all over the place. I don't know what the update on Tre'Davious White. I saw that he was injured, which would be huge for them, being one of the top cornerbacks in the NFL, and a guy that Chiefs fans will always keep in mind of, because that's who they used on the pick when we traded up to get Patrick Mahomes. They ended up getting an all-pro corner. So it didn't turn out terribly for them, but it will be interesting to see how Buffalo plays because we've seen that kind of Jekyll and Hyde. What do you think they're pretenders or contenders? Tucker, we're talking about the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah. I still think that they've got plenty of talent on that team. So I think that they are good, and I think they're going to be contenders really no matter what it comes down to. As we've been talking about during the season, the ebbs and flows of it, right? They got to see some pretty low lows going up against the Jacksonville Jaguars and losing that game by 3 points. That's a 9. Have you ever been in a game that low scoring, Nick? A 9-6?
I mean, I've been in soccer games that low scoring, but I don't think. I'm trying to think. I honestly, I don't remember any games like that where it's sort of that sort of like
Right.
No one got to double digits. I mean, I know I've been blanked or been shut out like that, but not both teams like that. Not at
It was
all.
just an ugly game, and I know that kind of took away some confidence with some people about the Bills, and the Bills they got beat by the Colts, I think, too.
Yep.
But
In their own
the
house.
Colts, the Colts are another team that's kind of confusing too. Like they're pretty good, but they're also like pretty not good. So this league has been really confused, or this season has been really confusing, and I think that's just what makes it fun, right? I mean, there's just been so much parity, and I asked Mike DeVito about that on one-on-one about like, have you seen a season like this? Because you played in the league for a while. Like, have you seen a season where there was so much parity? And Nick, I'm curious to kind of what you think there is like. Have you seen a season with this much parity on it?
I mean, it's pretty clear cut who's dominant in the NFC. And then in the AFC, but then like I said, like the AFC, right? If you looked at this first 8 games, you'd have your squad picked out. And now it's the last half of the season, and you're like, I don't know. I can't call it. Like, is it the Chargers? Is it Lamar and the boys? Is it the Chiefs? It's like is it Josh Allen? My thing to me is you look at the Bills' schedule, where they're going to get either exposed or crowned. They play New England and Tampa Bay, next upcoming game. So that to me, I've got to wait for that. New England is resurgent. They look like old school New England, where they're shutting out teams. They're playing all right on offense, and it's like, wow. Like, we'll see after they play New England twice in Tampa Bay. That'll be their litmus test.
I think it was Bill Belichick just getting fired up because everybody basically saying like it was just Tom Brady. It had nothing to do with Belichick. He's just like, oh yeah,
you ain't Jack Spot.
That
Bill,
like
right?
passive aggressive. It's probably not even real at all. But just that like back and forth, like who's gonna have the most success now that the marriage and now that they're divorced.
It is. You're right. It's who's got the better of what Instagram live, right? In the breakup, right? Who's winning the breakup type thing.
That's my favorite way off, but those memes about like this is what Twitter is, this is what Instagram, and it's like Instagram, my life is a party, and Twitter, it's like the world is ending.
So true.
The worst thing about Twitter, but all right, Tuck, what do you have for our blind nil for this week?
Oh, that's a great question. So, in Thanksgiving, I think there are some great football traditions around Thanksgiving. Nick, with playing in the league, what would you do, and BJ too, with like being around the league? How was Thanksgiving in the league? That's kind of my as like an outsider from the NFL, right? I'm kind of asking this for all the fans out there in the NFL. How was Thanksgiving? Because did you ever get to play on Thanksgiving, Nick?
No, I never did. And in college, we were always off because we were preparing for the Big 12 championship. The only time we did play was 9/11 when we had to reschedule a game to Thanksgiving week. But yeah, I always had it off. I thought it was, to me, the weirdest thing is when you would play on Christmas or you'd practice on Christmas or practice on Thanksgiving. Is that like traffic was nil. There's nobody on the streets, period. It was just like it felt like COVID. Like it felt like, mid-March of COVID, you're the only person on the street, like at, 8 a.m. And in the NFL, you realize, those winter holidays, BJ can attest this. It's just a day. You're in the office. It's just a day. You can do it later. You can do it the next day. And that's what you do. Millions of people do that too. Like, I'm at a hotel here and I was talking to some of our servers who had to work all day yesterday. And like, we'll just have our Thanksgiving today. You just shift it. You adapt.
Yeah. It just becomes like a meal. Like I always remember going up to practice. They'd always have practice and media availability because I think by NFL rule, like they have to, even though it's a holiday. but it was always weird to go into the offices because the rest of the business staff wouldn't be there. So it was like this empty place, and there'd be like 5 of us, or 3, and probably that it was like 4 or 5 of us. It was like me, our other reporter Matt. The last couple of years he was there, and then like the videographers, and we'd all just look at each other like, we got to work. Then you go stand there and like watch these guys practice, or you go out, watch the first 20 minutes, you'd go inside, and then I'd sit in my office and I'd look down at the field. So then I'd just watch practice, and then I'd go down there to ask like a handful of questions that just get like, you know, a cliche, like you kind of know what they're going to say. And then I just look at everybody like, why are we here? Like, why are we doing this? And then you sit at home and you just have this like anxiety, like I have to work. And like, I hated that feeling of like, I need to be there. I should be there. And then the whole time I'm there, I'm like, why am I here? It was like, damned if you do, damned if you don't. But yeah, I enjoy it much more now, being able to sit at home with the family and having Nick, your kids run around in the background, have my wife and kids run around here asking questions, and all that good stuff. But yeah, no real traditions, Tucker, as much as it was just like another day. You just got to kind of look forward to a really good meal. And you tried, I mean, there's not a ton of media, so you could go ask the players a lot of stuff, but they're trying to get out of there so they can go home and spend time with their family. So I got a lot of, why are you here? It's like, I don't know. I just feel like I should be.
No.
The players are like, what are you doing here? Like,
no. I mean, as a player, from a player's perspective, though, you realize who's in your circle of trust, right? So everybody it's like your equipment guys, like BJ, like the BJs of the world, BJ, you know, the sideline reporters, your SID people, and then, you know, trainers and weight guys. So you know who's in your posse and who's corporate and can't be trusted, right?
We used to,
you ain't there, you a snitch.
We used to joke with the media because it was more like OTAs, but it extended to holidays too. That, you know, you go to the AFC Championship game, you go to the Super Bowl, and there's like thousands of media, and it's such a pain in the butt to ask a question because everybody's butting in, people that haven't been around all year. So we've joked on like OTAs, like if you're out here like watching these guys in the spring in shorts when it's 100 degrees, standing in the sun with no shade, like you can't sit, you can't lean on the wall because coach will yell at you. Like if you're at those practices, when it gets to the AFC title game, you get to ask your questions first. Like everybody else can leave the room. You're not here on Thanksgiving. You're not here on Christmas Eve. You got to wait till we ask our questions first because we're out here grinding it out during holidays. But I always remember those fun conversations with like Nate Taylor and Sam and Herbie, and everybody is like, we're out here grinding during this time. But anyway,
you get that inside scoop.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. All right. My blind nil. Nobody'd ask a Thanksgiving, and I'll just do the cliche. Like, what's your hottest take regarding Thanksgiving food? Everybody's got a hot take. And if it's like pumpkin pie is disgusting, like that is a hot take. It's a terrible one.
I've got it.
Oh, go ahead, Tucker.
Yes. Ham is only for Christmas.
Okay.
I said it.
I actually agree with that take. Nick had a steak yesterday. So I know he might have some real takes here on Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I've been influenced. Like I've deep fried a turkey for as long as I can remember, so I know how to do my marinade, all the injections and stuff. And even when you deep fry a turkey, it's just okay. And I'd much rather have like I had my son and I split a 40-ounce porterhouse yesterday, and you know, I think it's a time just to go hard in the paint as far as be gluttonous, you know, I think that's what should be respected is whether it's 100 hot dogs or, you know, it's a gourmet meal. I think Thanksgiving is that time to indulge if you can.
It's just not gluttony.
Basically. Yeah. I tried to get gout yesterday for sure. So yeah, it was, but yeah, but my hottest take though, honestly, I agree. Turkey's a subpar meat. You know, it's good for turkey sandwiches. And even when you deep fry it, the only thing good about turkey, and it's only redeeming grace, turkey legs at the Renaissance Festival.
Yeah,
turkey legs are the goat meat. Turkey legs are the goat meat. The rest of it, you can have it. But turkey legs.
They have those at K-State football games now too, Nick. If you go up on the thing. They're amazing. You get this like big, you just feel like a caveman. You just like
so amazing.
Like I'm gonna go watch football. I'm gonna have a beer, and I'm just gonna gnaw on this bone for the next hour.
I don't like Renaissance festivals. I like getting turkey legs at Renaissance festivals. Right?
Yeah.
But yeah, turkey legs are the goat. Turkey's subpar, but turkey legs make it the centerpiece.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm with that.
My take, stuffing's disgusting. I've never had it. I don't like stuffing at all, but I will eat. I think I had like 16 rolls yesterday. I was gonna get back on keto and it's like not happening until after Thanksgiving because I know what's gonna happen. I could probably fill my plate with just like gravy and rolls and probably be okay on Thanksgiving. I feel 400. Like I started sweating. I ate so many rolls. I had to go sit down, and as soon as I felt like I could stand without getting sick, I walked to the bathroom, and on the way back, grabbed 2 more rolls, sat down, and just started eating like it's a problem. Rolls.
Well, I think it's amazing. You know, my wife showed me a meme yesterday, and it was you spend all day cooking for your kids and family, and they end up eating store-bought rolls.
My mom makes these little things. I've never seen them anywhere else. They're called sweet potato surprises, where it's just a bunch of sweet potato, basically like packed around a marshmallow, and then like frosted flakes or like corn flakes around it, and then you heat them up just a little bit to like get the marshmallow to kind of like melt a little bit. Not good heated up because the marshmallow's already melted, but they're amazing, and kids fell in love with them. My mom makes them every year. Other thing that you just mix it all together too. It just touches on the big plate, just a big glob of meat.
Well, hey, to combine your guys' preferences, you know, one of my favorite things is around the holiday time is getting the honey baked ham, the spiral cut, and getting the Hawaiian rolls and stone ground mustard. Amazing.
When it comes to food stuff, Nick, I've just learned to trust you. So even if it doesn't sound right, like you've never really steered me wrong. And I was like, you know what? I'll try it.
There's no hype. Like I cut through the hype. Like, is a hot dog a sandwich or is it a hot dog? I don't care. It's just every now and again.
We had 75 rolls set to go, 75 Hawaiian rolls set to go at our Thanksgiving. Nick, before you hopped on, we had like 40 people at our house. As I was saying, we forgot to set out the rolls. So today we're gonna now eat all of our Thanksgiving leftovers with 75 Hawaiian rolls, and I'm so stoked for that.
If you need to invite somebody over, Tuck, like I'll come hang. And if you need to bring them, and hey, anybody who's out there listening, we got a special shout out. Obviously, it's a Chiefs show, but Tuck, myself, and about 18,000 of our closest friends on Sunday will be at the Sporting KC Real Salt Lake game. So you know we don't like Ochoa. I don't like that dude. And I'm excited. I'm excited to get out there and get loud now that the West is going to run through Sporting and they win that game. They get another home game to go play for the Cup. You get to play that game. It's like the AFC title game, right?
It is. And they could end up hosting, depending on what happens on the other side of the bracket. I think New England has to like lose, but New England's a wagon. New England's good. It's gonna be close. They could end up hosting, another playoff game, and then even the Cup. If they make to the Cup, it could happen.
We want the Cup.
We too want the Cup.
A wagon.
Gotta have that Cup. They're a wagon.
I just went with it, Nick.
No, I can't. I can't.
Yeah, so
heard that term. Tucker,
it's usually used to describe hockey teams. Like if they're really good. So like if you're really good, you're a wagon. Think of like a horse-drawn wagon. There's a lot of power there.
It's a phrase I've never heard either, Nick, but I followed it. I realized that a couple weeks ago I saw on the Discord they boat raced them, and someone's like, "What is boat racing?" I'm like, I said that my entire life. I don't know where it came from.
Obvious boat race. What do you think of like a boat on the water? Just going like that's heavy metal. That's the opposite of a wagon, unless you live in Amish country, which I don't. A wagon and power. I don't. That's
they're sturdy. You can't go wrong. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess.
Like
so it's like a
canvas.
The only wagon I know of is that one down at Oklahoma, and that damn thing seems to fall over pregame like 3 or 4 times a year.
It's the opposite of sturdy, right?
Yeah.
Listen, Tucker. I'm gonna do my best to incorporate that. I will.
Yeah.
I'll put that in the vernacular.
So hockey vernacular is really good if you get the chance to like learn some. Like if someone's good looking, they're a rocket.
Is Minnesota talk or is this Canadian? I mean, it's a little
mix. Yeah, it's a little mix. I've picked up a lot since I started following hockey. Yeah.
Oh yeah, my wife just informed me the Oilers are at her hotel right now.
That's sick.
So I'll go see if they're a wagon or not.
You ask them, say, "Hey guys,
they're wagon.
They're not very good."
Okay.
They got Connor McDavid though, who's probably the best player in the whole league there. So
oh yeah,
I had no idea you're such a hockey person, Tucker.
Yeah, it's one of those passive things I like. I like to watch other sports. I don't really have to feel like I have to break down. Like football, I feel like every time I watch it, I feel like I have to like digest it and like process some takes. That's why I'm very big into soccer. I like to watch European soccer. I'm a Spurs fan. I like Sporting Kansas City. I like to watch the hockey as well. Same thing.
I just can't get
You're
into
going to enjoy
hockey.
watching the hockey game. Too bad Maddie's not with us, because Maddie and I watching soccer can get pretty entertaining because we just yell, just effing kick it all the time.
You do.
You're like
You
the
do.
dad and like
Yeah.
the 5-year-old, like, open goal, shoot it.
Yeah.
Dude,
We're at halfway.
Graham Zusi listened and hit a freaking laser. Like, I yelled, just effing kick it. And he did it. I'm like, see? Look what happens when you just effing kick it.
Simple sport.
Just kick it.
Long ball,
Cross
shoot it.
country in a box. And I love it.
Man.
I'm going to be screaming at
With no commercial
Ochoa.
breaks.
No
We'll
commercial
be screaming
breaks.
at
That's
Ochoa
another
on
thing.
Sunday with, like I said, 18,000 of our closest friends. We appreciate everybody for tuning in to this episode of Outside the Trenches. Again, one last plug for our Soul of KC holiday raffle and toy drive. We are selling tickets through the KC Sports Network Venmo account. One ticket is $20. You can get 10 tickets for $100. And those raffle tickets are going towards this list of 17 prizes. One last time. A Patrick Mahomes autographed mini helmet, a Chris Jones autographed jersey, 2 Chiefs tickets, and a parking pass to the December 26th game against the Steelers, Creed Humphrey autographed gloves, Guys Chips Variety 8-pack. We have 4 winners of those delectable chips. Cookie Society monthly sampler. That is 6 cookies a month for an entire year. $100 gift card from Manny's Mexican Restaurant. $100 gift card from the Capitol Grill. $100 gift card from Third Street Social. $100 gift card from Q39, 2 $50 gift cards from Rally House to 2 different winners, a $100 gift card and 4 tour passes up to Holiday Distillery in Weston, Missouri, and a 6-pack of the Jackson family wines. Again, you can buy those tickets on the KC Sports Network Venmo account. All of the money raised is going towards purchasing toys for Operation Breakthrough that we will deliver on December 10th. We will drop all of those toys off. Really cool thing. We're trying to give back to the Kansas City community, do some fun stuff, but we appreciate anybody's support. I'm getting notifications every time we get donations. We are over $1,000 already. So thank you already for the initial support. We just launched a couple of weeks ago. And thank you for everybody for tuning in. We will see you next time. Thank you. Goodbye.